How's it going, football fans around the world, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm on tier maker today. I made one of these videos last year. Wasn't a great video, but here I am. I'm just ranking all the Premier League teams season. I'm doing this based on the whole season as a whole, everything included. You know, if they're in European competitions, domestic competitions, everything, not just the Prem. Everything is involved in this season. As you can see, I got banged it. That's like crazy good season, really good season. Then I got a good season. I got average, meh, and then fluffed it like, this is a terrible season. So that's how I'm doing it. I'll also be doing it from at the end of the video. I'll try to do it as best I can during it, but at the end of the video, we'll probably maybe make some changes depending on how I'm feeling. But I'm going to try to go left to right, left being the best, right being the absolute worst in each category. So let's get to it. So first off, we're going to start with is, let's mix it up a bit because I don't want to talk about all these teams at once, which I thought I already did, but it must have. Yeah, so I think we gave that a good, I think we gave it a good mix there. Let's start with Brighton. It's definitely between good or banged it. They were in what? Let's look at the table. They were in 9th place. I think that's their highest finished in the Premier League. One of them, definitely one of them. I loved what the Potter has done with this team. The way their style of play is really good. They actually have a lot of talent on that team. They bring up a lot of good youth talent. I know Man City's one of them. Can't remember his name. The left back. They have a good youth system, and so really impressed with what they did at the beginning of the season. I wouldn't have really thought for them to get into top 10. So the fact that they did it is a very good season. But is it banged it? Did they absolutely bang it? And I've watched some other people's videos on this, and some of them, some of them kept them in good just because they didn't. Even some of them even said just because they didn't win anything like domestically. I feel like that's a little harsh to say, but I feel like for it to be a banger of a season, like crazy good season, like almost a historical season, I think they would have to done a little better in a domestic tournament. I think they got into like one of the third rounds or something, and they end up losing to Leicester. I know they ended up losing to Leicester in PKs. They would have had maybe a better run in that tournament. I don't remember if that was the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, but I believe it was the FA Cup. But if they would have had a better of a run in that, then maybe I would have put them and banged it. Not necessarily won it, but just maybe like a semi-final, maybe even the final. But just because of that, I'm going to put it in good. I don't want to take anything away from them, though. I don't want you to think that I'm not impressed. I'm very impressed with what Brighton has done this year, but I don't think it's a banger of a season yet. Arsenal, God, these first two teams. Is it a good season or is it an average season? I think that's the two categories we're looking at. I'm going to put them in good, and the reason why I'm going to put them in good is it's so tough. Like I said with Brighton, looking at Arsenal, I did not expect them to go 5th. I don't think I would have had them being 5th place if I would have made any predictions. Last year they finished 8th. So if we were looking at it from the beginning, finishing 5th would have been a very good season. But the fact that they had top 4 in their hands, they literally had it in their hands. They just needed one more result out of the I think they ended up losing 3 in a row. We've talked about this in one of the videos. And the last 10 games of the season, they end up winning 4 or something like that. So one more win, and we could be talking about them having a great season. But the fact that they didn't, I'm tempted to put them in average just because we've seen Arsenal, float around 5th place, 8th place, whatever it is, in the last 4 or 5 years. But I don't know, to go to 8th, then to 5th. I mean, they weren't even European football last year, so I'm going to put it in a good season. It's better. We're seeing something from Arteta. I know Arsenal fans and a lot of even outside, even a lot of neutral fans like to really critique him, but I think he's had a good season. I just believe there's some things in there that are just really holding them back, and I think there's a couple of players in there that maybe have bad mentalities, like we've heard Jaka before. I need to move on. Good season for Arsenal. Brentford, banged it. They banged it. Wow, this team has been inspirational this year. The type of games that they had, and it's not like they just did enough to survive. No, they got into 13th place. They were They were 5 points off into the top half of that table. They came from relegation, and it's no Leicester, right? But came from relegation. Everybody, I think a lot of them had them getting relegated. The fact that they quite easily got out of the relegation zone. I mean, they banged it. That first game with Arsenal, beating Arsenal, going toe to toe with Liverpool. Like I said, they're not just surviving; they're entertaining to watch. I was worried going up against them. That they just play some good football. They got a decent future ahead of them, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the upcoming season. So for Brentford, they banged it. Hell of a season. What a team they have. Everton. It's between fluffed it or meh. And the reason why it's between fluffed it and meh, because if we're looking at the team overall, they should be doing better. They should not be, for that end of the season or most of the season, fighting a relegation zone. They shouldn't. With the players that they have, I definitely believe they should be flirting around more 10th place. So the fact that they ended up 16th, it's almost embarrassing. It really is. But the reason why I'm kind of tempted to put them in meh is just because of in the dramatic fashion that they survived. But I don't think I can bring myself to doing that. I really don't, just because this Everton side should be finishing a lot higher than what they are. I know you guys are just happy that you guys end up surviving this season, because I have a few Everton fans and a lot of them really gave up hope. So I know you guys are just happy to have survived in that fashion, and also you're happy that Liverpool lost the Champions League in the Prem, but you guys have to be finishing a lot higher than that. I know you're happy with for now you're happy with the survival, but you gotta be, the expectations have to be higher. But I don't know, this Everton side there's something else. Okay, Burnley. Ooh, I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh on these guys, because I mean, they missed out on the final day by 3 points. And if they would have gotten those 3 points, they would have been ahead by goal difference. Oh man, this one's tough. This one's really, really tough. Look, they end up getting relegated. That's obviously that's a no-no. A lot of people had them being relegated a lot sooner than they did. So it was a very good run for Burnley, right? I mean, they gave a lot of teams some hell. They were always, I don't know, every time I've seen them, we're going against them. I know a lot of times we would fly by them, but just the way they gave other teams problems, they're always that team. I was just like, oh man, this could be a tough game today. I'm a little disappointed that they're actually getting relegated. There's a lot of teams I like this season, so yeah, I don't know. Is it a mess season? They had a really good run at the end, right? I mean, how many games did they winning in a row? Well, I guess at the end they really didn't. Oh wait, hold on. In May, I guess they really didn't have a great run at the end, but for a while I believe they were they weren't doing bad. I mean, they beat Everton, tied West Ham, beat Southampton. It almost seemed like they were about to do enough, and it just came down to that final day performance. Left it or meh? I'm going to put them in meh. We weren't expecting Burnley to finish much higher. Like, if they would have survived, it would have been just surviving or around that 14th, 15th place. The fact that they did getting relegated, I think the only team that we would have thought could have stepped in for Burnley this season would have been a Brentford or a Leeds. But it just didn't happen. So, yeah, I think it's a meh. I might change that at the end. But Norwich, oh, wow. I know. I mean, I'm going to put them here as of right now. But what? No, it's a fluffed it, because what else are we expecting, right? Like, I want to do this kind of off expectation, but they've been coming back, back and forth into the Prem. And every season they are, I think, pretty much dead last. I believe last time they were dead last too. They don't really ever put up much of a fight. You never really see them out of that relegation zone. And I know they don't have the funds behind it, and I know they're not one of those top clubs. But to think that you've been coming back and forth a bit, so I would think maybe you would put up more of a fight, be a little more prepared, be in the Premier League, and to fight, get out of relegation zone. And they just haven't. I feel like they're just happy to be here and then happy to leave and dominate or go again in the championship again. So fluffed it for me. I mean, we could have put them in meh just because, like, what else are we expecting? But I feel like you got to put up more of a fight than that. I mean, you were 13 points off of 18th, 21 off of relegation zone. So it's a fluffed it for me. Oh, Liverpool. So now we're getting into Liverpool. And as you can tell, I am a Manchester City fan. But you know what? I feel like people have been harsh on you guys. And I don't know why I'm about to be nice to you guys, because your fan base has been quite mean to Manchester City fans all the time, right? But I also feel like we and other fans outside have been kind of harsh on Liverpool. It's definitely between average or good. And I know some of you might be putting, why aren't you putting them in meh? Because, they didn't get the Champions League or the Premier League, right? But if your club is ever mentioned or associated with almost accomplishing a quadruple, you're having a hell of a season. Like, I'm almost tempted to put you in banged it just because you guys were so close to a quadruple. Champions League final, 1 point off of Manchester City, and then won both domestic trophies. But in the manner that you won them and in the manner that you lost the Champions League, I can't put it in banged it. You were in 3 finals, right? Like everybody's been mentioning, 3 finals, no goals. That's a bit embarrassing. Now, if you would have won the Champions League, no one would have really mentioned it, right? But that is a bit embarrassing. To be in 3 finals and to get no goals, it's not good enough. It's not good enough at all. And then you did end up losing the Premier League. I'm not going to say you bottled it like tons of people have, because it was never really in your hands other than from the beginning of the season. But from pretty much Christmas on, it was never in your hands, right? I mean, you guys made a big comeback. Just to be competing with us was impressive enough. So I'm not going to be harsh on you guys and just take this time to go at you. The fact that you were competing for a quadruple is nuts. It really is. So you can't say they had an average or good season. But the only reason why I didn't put you in banged it, even though I said I was tempted to, is just because you didn't get any of the big trophies, Premier League or the Champions League. I do love the FA Cup, but it's not on the level as the Premier League and the Champions League. And the way you did end up losing that Champions League final, it just wasn't good enough. You guys didn't show up that day. I know a lot of you guys, especially Liverpool fans, are gonna, I've heard you guys on other videos and on social media, you're gonna be like, this is still a historical season. It is a historical, but for me, it's just not, one of the top. It's not banger material. It's not making me go like, oh my God, wow. I mean, you're still a fantastic team. We're gonna have to stick you to good. Now, if you're ahead of these two, we'll sort that out later. Definitely ahead of Arsenal, I would say. Ahead of Brighton, I don't know though. Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace ended up finishing 12th. Kind of what I would have expected. Maybe a little lower at the beginning of the season. Maybe I would have had them a little lower than 12th. Now, is this an average season or is this a good season? It's in terms of positioning wise, I don't think it's anything special. But in terms of what you're creating here, in terms of what Vieira is doing, right? I was very impressed. I mean, you took almost max points off of my team. You ended up beating us 2-0. And I believe the next game we drew 0-0. So we didn't score a goal versus you guys. So that's saying something. And what you guys are building here and what Vieira is having, the style of play you guys are having, I think this is a very good season. I think Crystal Palace fans are pretty satisfied with what they've seen. I'm definitely impressed of the football you guys can play. So I'm going to have you in good. Ahead of these guys, I don't think so. But yeah, definitely a good season for you guys. Definitely a good season. In terms of positioning wise, maybe it's a little average, maybe a little better, but in terms of the way you guys play and what you guys are building, I'm definitely excited to see if you guys finishing anywhere higher next year. So yeah, good season for you guys. Chelsea. Ooh, this one's tough. So made both domestic finals, lost both times to Liverpool in PKs, were nowhere near a title challenge, was actually closer to getting out of top 4 than you were to challenging for the title, which at the beginning of the season, I don't think anybody would have really predicted. Ooh, it's I think it's between average and meh. I think the only argument that you could make for it being a good season is that you did win 2 trophies, right? You won the Community Shield, I believe, and the Club World Cup, right? No, you didn't win the Community Shield. Leicester won the Community Shield. You won the Club World Cup, and then, the Super Cup, right, versus Villarreal. So you did end up getting 2 trophies. So still, not a trophyless season. But the fact that you guys didn't title challenge at all, really, I mean, at the beginning you did, but the fact that you ended up being nowhere near a title challenge, I think with the squad that you have and the money that you've spent, or not necessarily the money that you spent, but just with the squad you have. I mean, maybe a little bit with the money you spent, right? I mean, the fact that Lukaku ended up being a total backfire, like he did not really contribute at all. Just kind of embarrassed your club. And then the mess that you're in, don't want to say it's fluffed it. I don't want to say that. I would put you mid, but 2 trophies, I know they're not the greatest trophies in the world. Probably the 2 most irrelevant. I mean, they're more so just kind of like an add-on if you end up winning like a treble or a quadruple, adding on to that. They're just kind of cool tournaments to be in, right? I mean, you're in the Supercopa because you won the Champions League. You're in the FIFA Club World Cup because you won the Champions League, right? I believe that's why you get in it. Yeah, so they're cool tournaments to be in. But in terms of teams really wanting it, I don't think it's on the top of their list. Average or meh? I'm gonna put you in average. I think it might be a little harsh to put you in meh. Oh, so you didn't title challenge. You still made 2 finals though. Okay, I'm gonna go with average. 2 finals and then won the other 2 trophies. It's an average season. Definitely at the end though. You guys should have done a whole lot better in the Prem. I believe you guys should have been definitely a lot higher in points. Definitely a little closer to a title challenge. And then I'm not going to really diss on you in the Champions League. I mean, all of those teams that run by Real Madrid was just absolutely nuts. So, all right, Leicester. So Leicester did getting a trophy this year, which is good. But what I classified as a good season, end up finishing 8th, 52 points. Did have some injuries. I think it's between average and good. I'm going to go with average. I know you guys did end up getting a trophy this year, but, last season you guys bottled the top 4. But it didn't matter because you did have a historical season, I believe, by winning the FA Cup, which was really cool. So it kind of overshadowed bottling top 4. But I was pretty disappointed that you guys did that. But would I have had you finishing up any higher than 8th? I don't know. The teams ahead of you, I think I would expect those teams to have finished higher than you. And you guys did end up getting a trophy. But for it to be a good season for Leicester, I think you guys have to be, first of all, making a European competition. And then second of all, maybe doing a little bit better domestically. You got the Community Shield. I don't remember where you went off in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. I don't quite remember. But you end up losing to Nottingham, which is not great. 4-1. That's kind of an embarrassment. And then in European, so you guys were in the Conference League, and you didn't actually end up making the semifinals to that, losing to the champions of that tournament. Ooh, average or good? I'm gonna stick with average. You guys made a semifinal in the Conference League, which is good. That's not bad. But I think for it to have been a good season, I think you guys would have wanted maybe to finish a little higher, right? Maybe getting into Europa League or challenging if you're making the Europa League, you're probably challenging the Champions League. So I think if you guys would have done that, I think it would have been a good season for you guys. So I'm gonna stick with average, but at the top of average, definitely at the top of average. Okay, Wolves. Oof. Average or meh? It's between average or meh for me. The reason why it's between average or meh for me is because I remember making a top 4 video who I thought was gonna make it, and I had you guys in the conversation. I didn't have you guys. I think I had you guys at the lower end of it. It was only between 5 teams, but you guys were in the conversation, and you guys actually ended up ending in 10th place. So at that time of recording, I definitely had you finishing higher than Brighton. I definitely had you finishing higher than Leicester. And I don't quite remember why I put you in between West Ham, Man United, and Arsenal. So the fact that you guys ended up getting nowhere near that, I think is a very big disappointment. But looking from it at the beginning of the season, would have I expected you to finish higher? I don't know. Maybe 1 or 2 places. So it's either average, like you did what was expected, or meh. I'm going to put you in meh. I expect you guys to finish a lot better. You guys end up having a really bad run at the end of the season. So I'm sure Wolves fans aren't too psyched about this season. I don't think Wolves fans are too psyched about it because you guys ended up finishing strong. And you guys got really nowhere near European competitions. Oh, I guess you did. You were 5 points off of Conference League. Yeah, I'm gonna stick you in meh. I could have maybe put you in average, but me personally, I expected you to do a little bit better than that. Moving on to Leeds. Leeds finished definitely higher than 17th because I don't think we were concerned about Leeds being in a relegation battle last season. So definitely finished lower than you did last year. And actually, I think I had you guys like maybe one of the surprising teams. I don't quite remember because I think you guys did better than expected. Kind of like a Brentford. It's either meh or average. Oh, meh or average. What should I do here? Meh or average? If it's meh, I think it's definitely at the top of meh. But if it's average, I don't know. At the teams I'm looking at, as I'm looking at the table, I like how you guys finished off the season. It was definitely cool watching you guys stay up. Even though I was a bit disappointed to see Burnley go down, it's just because I like a lot of these teams. Like, I don't mind them. But I think I would have had you guys finishing a little bit higher. I don't know if I would have had you in a relegation battle. This close, right? This close. Definitely not any much higher than where you guys are now, or where you guys are at. Guys end up finishing. But I think I would have had you finishing a little bit more comfortably. But I know a lot of you Leeds fans are probably just happy to be staying up. I'm sure I know that's the main target for you guys when you're going into the season. So the fact that you did may point towards just an average season. But I don't know. For me, for some reason, I don't know why. I don't really have a great reason why. I would have expected you guys to maybe finish just a little bit higher, maybe finishing a little more comfortably than you did. But I liked how you guys finished the season. The new American coach coming in did great. I love his attitude. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with. I might change that too, but as of right now, I'm gonna put him in mid. Another interesting one: Manchester City. Last year we ended up winning the Prem, and it was a quite easy Prem run. And big disappointment at the end there by losing the Champions League final to Chelsea. So in that video, I ended up putting him in a good season, and it's kind of like what we did here. And I ended up putting him in a good season, but I'm a little more conflicted this time because at first I was thinking, yeah, it's a good season, and we only ended up winning one trophy. Disappointment in both semifinals that we were in, but we lost to a great team in the FA Cup, right, versus Liverpool, and we didn't have our stronger side, so I wasn't expecting us to really get out of there. But the fact that we bottled that 2-goal lead against Real Madrid is what's making me kind of keep them at good. But the way that we finished the season and the matter that we finished the Premier League season makes me want to put it and banged it. I don't quite know. I mean, we won the Premier League, and it's a lot more impressive this year because last year we won the Premier League, right? But we won it easily. Manchester United was the second place team and our rival at the time, and we ended up winning it by still by 10 plus points, I believe. So that's not very impressive, right? I mean, it was a weak Liverpool team. It was a Chelsea side that didn't get going till the second half, and then it was a Man U side who only finished that high because Bruno was having such a good year and everybody else was crap. So that for me didn't make it a really a great season. It was kind of like a good average season. Like, yeah, we won the Premier League. That's always good. But this year we were pushed by a very strong Liverpool team. Made the semifinals. Should have made the finals, but we made the semifinals. Played well in both games. Just ended up getting... I mean, we just got Real Madrid, right? As people were saying, we got Real Madrid. I mean, yeah, we could have done a lot to stop that from happening, but I mean, they did it to every team, so it's kind of like, well, what else could you have done? I mean, it's just the magic of Real Madrid. So I just the way that we finished is why I want to put it and banged it, because it was a very satisfying. Like, I'm pretty satisfied right now. I wanted to make the Champions League, and that's what I always want to win. That's what I want to go for. If we don't win the Champions League, I'm not going to be satisfied. The fact that we kind of had that Aguero moment again makes me want to put it and banged it. Ended up just getting over that very good Liverpool side. I mean, it's historical. But that's kind of why I want to put it and banged it. Oh, I don't know if I can, though, just because what happened at the Bernabeu. I don't care. I really don't care. I know that Real Madrid are magical, but you can't give up a 2-goal lead in 2 minutes like that. Oh, banged it. Good. Definitely at the top of good. Banged it. I wish I could have made a very good category, but I didn't want to make too many different categories. Now I'm wishing I have, just because I feel like that's where Manchester City should be. It's not like a crazy season, right? I mean, Manchester City, we won 4 out of the last 5 Prems, so this is nothing new to us, right? It's definitely special in the way we win. It's always special to win the Prem, but it's not like, oh wow, like oh crap, like Manchester City did something different here. This is definitely going in history books. I mean, winning at Prem will always go in the history books because you won the league. But is it different than what City have been doing the past 4 seasons? No, it's not. For that to happen, we have to win the Champions League. So I'm gonna leave it in good. I might change my mind. As of right now, I'm leaning towards good. Newcastle. So Newcastle, at the beginning of the season, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting from them. They end up finishing 11th. Not bad. 49 points. Pretty good. Honestly, I don't think I would have had them doing that at the beginning. If I would have made the predictions, I don't think I would have had them so high. Definitely not much lower, though. The fact that they turned around their season so dramatically, I mean, they had, as someone said, I believe it was in the kickoff, Rory, I believe he said, they're going to have to play like a Champions League team to save their season from being relegated. And that was when, you know, they were in the relegation zone and everything was looking bad, right? Everybody was making fun of them because they had gotten these new owners. They were going to get all this money and they're going to be in the second division. And I believe someone did the math. Rory, I believe I know his name, but Rory's the one I believe who said it and did the math. And he said that for them to save their season, they're going to have to play like a Champions League side. So they end up almost getting into the top half of the season. So for me, that is a good season. And actually, I think that's a little maybe better. I don't know. These are almost tied. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, they're tied. Definitely better than what we would expect from Arsenal. So a good season for Newcastle fans. And this is kind of like this is the beginning of a new chapter for Newcastle, right? We're seeing these new owners come in. They end up bringing some good talent. Some of that talent, I mean, a lot of that talent didn't even get to play, right? Like Trippier didn't get to play the rest of the season, and they still played amazing. So yeah, really good for Newcastle. Southampton ended up finishing 15th. Nothing really special there. Didn't they end up getting beat again by somebody by a crazy amount of goals? I mean, they got beat by Chelsea 6-0. Southampton, so like I said, they end up getting beat by Chelsea, another team, by a lot of goals, 6-0. It's not 8-0 like it was the past 2 seasons, but still, it's just another average season for Southampton, you know, towards not even really a mid-table team, towards the bottom half. Nothing special here. Another year we get humiliated in one of the games. Absolutely humiliated. Is it a meh? No, I guess because it's Southampton. I mean, it's almost to be expected at this point. Average. And I don't want to be harsh on you, but I mean, was I expecting more from Southampton? No. Villa. I think this has to be a meh season. Almost a fluffed it season to me. I expected Villa to do a lot better with the talent that they got. I expected them to finish a lot higher than this. Yeah, I really did. Towards the top half of that table, honestly, towards that where Brighton and Leicester are. I would have probably expected Brighton to be where Villa are in 14th and Villa to be in 9th. So it's a meh season for Villa. It's a meh season. Had some good moments here and there. Had some bad moments here and there. Didn't finish as highly. They are having a good transfer window, but this is based on the season, not based on what's going on now. I definitely expect them to do better next year, but I definitely expected them to be higher this year too. So I think it's a meh season. Steven Gerrard has a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do. But as of the transfer market doing, he's starting off well. So I'm gonna end off with that. This has become a very long video. Spurs, good season. I think it was Christmas time. I was so ready to make this video and laugh at Spurs fans. I'm going to mention it again. I made a top 4 video and I had Spurs, I think, at the bottom of my list. I truly believe they weren't going to make top 4. They were very uninspiring at that time. They had just brought in Conte and he was still not doing well, saying some weird things in interviews. It was just, they were a mess at that time, and I had them nowhere near top 4, but out of the 5, I had them at the bottom, I believe. I just did not believe Spurs, and I'm gonna put them ahead of Arsenal because they did end up beating them for top 4. But I just didn't expect them to be here. So the fact that they turned it around, they're playing some really good stuff, beat my team twice. I gotta respect it. They end up doing very well, got in the top 4, and that's what you would expect for Spurs fans. I think for Spurs fans this season, for it to have been a good season, they would want to have gone to top 4. That would have been a good season for you guys, and that's what you did. You know, you guys probably had a lot of concerns, not knowing what was going to happen. You had, tons of teams to battle it out with. At the moment, at beginning, you're probably just thinking Liverpool, Manchester City, Man United, Chelsea. Towards the middle of that, you having to deal with Wolves, Arsenal, Man United. Who else was in it? West Ham. You had so many teams to battle it out with. You ended up finishing top, so it's a good season for you guys. Watford, either fluffed it or meh. If it's meh, it's definitely at the bottom. Fluffed it. I think I'm gonna have to stick you with fluffed it, because you only finished 1 point ahead of Norwich. And was I expecting you to get out of the relegation zone? No. But like I said with Norwich, I feel like you gotta put more of a fight than that. You've been in the Premier League before, recently too. You gotta do better than that. You have to do a little bit better. If you've been here before, you've been here a few times. This is not your first rodeo. You're not like a Brentford side who hasn't been here in forever. No, you've been here a few times. I just feel like you got to put up more of a challenge than just that. I mean, at times you were exciting to watch, like when you beat Man United, but I mean, it's not even an achievement to beat Man United anymore. So yeah, you fluffed it. West Ham, you had a good season. I'm gonna put you above Arsenal. I put you above Spurs. Nah, I don't know. Honestly, maybe Spurs. Of these teams, maybe West Ham too. I don't know. I mean, these between Spurs and Newcastle, it's very, very close. So I don't think people are going to trip too much about that. But West Ham ended up finishing really, 7th place. I'm sure maybe you guys had your hopes up to get maybe into the top 4, even into Europa. The fact that you guys didn't end up making European football, I'm sure you guys are happy about that. Had some really great moments. You had you had a moment against my team. Yeah, I feel like you guys did your team proud. I'm sure you guys were disappointed by the last game. You did end up losing against 3-1 versus Brighton, which could have you guys could have gone to the Europa League. But I still believe it's a good season for you guys. Still in that mix, which people had a lot of questions about. They didn't know if you guys could just quite handle it and stay in that. You end up making the semifinals for the Europa League. Look, you handled both, right? You did well. You did decent handling the Prem and European competition at the same time. You've shown that you guys can do it, and I believe it's a step in the right direction. And let's hope you guys can do even better, finishing even higher, and maybe even winning something as like the Conference League. I definitely believe you guys have a chance at doing that. So yeah, good for West Ham. Now into the last team. Don't really even have to argue this. You guys fluffed it, and you guys are at the bottom of it. Man, holy hell, what the hell happened? I mean, are we surprised about it? Yes and no. I mean, it's Man U. You guys haven't covered your guys' self in glory in a while. The fact that you brought in such great talent, I definitely expected you guys to finish a lot higher. I definitely had you guys in top 4 at the beginning of the season. I mean, I was a little concerned over a title challenge from you guys, but you guys, the fact that Brighton had to save your season to keep you guys out of the Conference League would have been the worst thing ever, right? Like, if I was a Man U fan, I honestly rather have been out of the Conference League than in the Conference League. I don't want to diss all the other teams who got into the Conference League like I just talked about with West Ham, but for a team like Man United, with the money that you got, I know I can't talk because my team's Man City, but at least we do well with it. You guys, it's embarrassing, and I almost feel bad. I kind of feel bad for you guys, and I don't know why, right? Because you're our biggest rivals, but the reason why is because we beat you, and it's always nice to beat you, but it's kind of like, we beat you, but so what? Is it that big of an achievement? No. Watford did the same thing. They embarrassed them 4-1. Liverpool scored 9 past them, so it's not even much of an achievement anymore. And that's what kind of irritates me, because I love beating you guys. It's when I look at the schedule, you are the first game I look for, because I love going up against you guys, and I love beating you guys. You're our rivals, so the fact that you're just making it less and less of an achievement, which will always be an achievement because you're our rival, but I want some more weight to it. 6th place. finish behind Spurs and Arsenal. With that team you have there, with Ronaldo, with Varane, with bringing in Sancho, with Bruno, who you guys were comparing to KDB at one point. That's disgraceful. And like I said, you got your season saved by Brighton. Not good. Not good whatsoever. So yeah, definitely fluffed it. You guys are going to be hoping for a big transfer window, and I know you guys are praying for Ten Hag to work out. Anyways, this is my choice, and I'm pretty happy with it. I am pretty happy with it. Don't think I will change much. I'm gonna stick Manchester City and banged it just because of the dramatic way we ended the season with the comeback of 3-2. I'm gonna put it in banged it, and I also have to believe, why not throw somewhere up there with Brentford, so they're not alone. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with this. I think the only questions some people would have is maybe you put Leeds in average, Liverpool and banged it, maybe even Brighton. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And in terms of left to right, best to right, yeah, I think I'm happy with everything. Maybe they're a little worse. Definitely at the bottom since they did end up getting relegated. Chelsea average. No, we're gonna stick them second. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And since I was contemplating between good and average, I'm banged it. I'm not gonna put them at the top of banged it. So yeah, these are my picks. Let me know in the comments what you guys think though. If you want to dispute anything, let me know. I don't care. I don't mind criticism. You can call me stupid. You can call me dumb. I don't mind it. I just want the engagement. But let me know what you guys would change, and let me know what you guys believe I got absolutely spot on. I mean, I believe this is probably the most accurate list in the whole YouTube, whatever, social media thing. I mean, I think I've banged it here. So yeah. Please like this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys would change. And let me know what you guys thought of your team and their season. So yeah, please like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.